Go. Okay, so you've got two possible final ideas here, yeah? Okay, do you have one that wins over the two of them a little bit?
Well, I like both of them, but I
Okay.
think the left one I like a
So
little
this one
bit better.
here.
Yeah.
Okay, tell me what you like about this one.
I really like the colors in the with the buildings and how the text is like almost like inverted. And the patterns look really like cool because they're a little bit like transparent, but not all the way.
Yeah, you've got some. The one thing I notice about this is actually, as a whole, visually, it really works. Like you've got this lovely negative space here. You've got this kind of V shape here that you've reinforced, and then your pattern. You've worked your text into the pattern, so your text is almost making a pattern. What is the saying that you're working with on here?
It's in the end we only regret chances we didn't take.
Okay, so it's the same here.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And so what I really like about this too is you've got the building and you've used the building as a pattern as well. This one here on the left, the one thing I'll say about this, like I think almost as a photographic work, it works brilliantly because it's so on its own so effective. I wonder if the message that you're looking for is, that you're trying to communicate is really clear because of the fact that the text is so integrated. Now, the thing is too that your artist does that. He does create artist images that you can't even really tell what it's saying. You know what I mean? Because his focus is more on making it an artwork. So that could be something that you're like, no, actually, that's what I want. And that's fine too. Let's have a look at this one. What do you think is successful about this one?
Well, I like how it has like very limited color and like just the shoes and the cone.
Yeah.
And how it like is like almost like blurry, kind of like you're zooming in or out, like.
Yeah, it's got that
towards the picture,
movement, yeah, because you've got this blur going on and it feels like it's moving, and that's also, what's the word, reinforced by the text. The text feels that way too. Yep, keep going.
I don't know.
Yeah.
And like the way the perspective, like you're looking at the cone, is kind of like
Yeah.
interesting, like the photograph.
Yeah, you've clearly, I mean, the photograph itself is really effective, and I like it because it's very clearly connected to your artist again. In fact, both of them are. The one thing you've done incredibly well is that you've used your artist in two very different styles, but very well and very skillful. And so one thing that I want to challenge you about for this one, you're saying is, in the end, we only regret the choices we didn't take. How does your imagery in this one reinforce that saying? Did you think about that when you put it together?
Not really.
Okay, so that's a good thing to consider, though, isn't it? It's nothing. I mean, it doesn't take away from the effectiveness of your image, and it also sometimes the artist that we used, his images are not necessarily harmonious with the text he's using. So you can also look at it from that way. But I find it really interesting because you haven't looked at it intentionally in terms of combining the text and the image. But one thing that's interesting, as soon as you put feet into something, you're kind of perhaps subconsciously mentioning a journey, aren't you? Because it's about people walking, and this kind of sense also reinforced by this sense of movement that you've got in the blurring. And so I wonder whether there is some kind of visual connection there that you could work on. That would be the two challenges I would look at. If you were to look at these, so just to reiterate, it would be, do you want your message to be clearer in this one, and could you make the imagery a bit more connected here? If you were to judge these, what do you think are things that could be improved on in here? Remember that evaluating is an important part of our process. How do you think you've done with these?
Well, for the left one, I would maybe make the text a bit clearer because you can't exactly read it.
Okay, so show me.
Like, for like right here, it's hard to see it because it's like blending in almost with the background a bit, and it's like in a funky shape, so it's hard to kind of read the text.
So what would you do to reinforce that? Would you add more text, or would you change the text you've got in there?
Maybe just like, I don't know, add more text. Like,
Yeah, where would you do that? Where would be a cool place to explore.
Like up here more.
Yeah,
There's
maybe.
nothing- It's kind of like empty up there. Almost.
Yeah, you've got that negative space. The negative space is kind of lovely. So I think whatever you do, you probably wouldn't want to just put text. You'd probably really try and engage with some of that beautiful layering you've got. So don't make it really obvious and in your face, because that's part of the beauty of this piece, is that it's got all that subtle layering. And what about this one?
I think maybe just like it's kind of almost a bit of a simple design because it's
Yeah.
just like one kind of focal point and
Yeah.
then it's just kind of empty around the outside, which is kind of nice because
Yeah.
it's not too distracting.
Yeah, and I think
But-
that works, and it's what your artist does too. So what else? What about the feedback I gave you about integrating the words with your message? You can also, I mean, like I said too, you can also say, I'm okay with it the way it is. That's your call as an artist.
Okay.
So, you're happy with it as it is.
Yeah. Unless
Okay,
I
great.
get some other ideas. Like,
Okay, so what could you do to fuel some of those other ideas?
I don't know. Maybe just like look around me, like when I'm like if I when
Yeah.
I'm on a walk or something, and
Yeah.
try to like get ideas about like what I see
Yeah.
in everyday life.
And how does that connect to an artist? Because that's kind of,
Well, he uses like sometimes he uses like small objects in his like his art. Like there's this one, I forget what it says, but it's like it has like a mirror in it and like I think a spoon, just and like all these different things that he just incorporated into his art.
yeah, because remember when we watched that video, he says that actually being observant about the world around him is something that inspires him. And all of those pictures that he shows us in the video are like quite random, really. Like,
of the Barcelona.
yeah, like the Barcelona
gate.
terminal and that kind of thing as well. Okay. Do you have any questions about anything? You're happy with what we've talked about?
I'm
Okay.
good.
Good. Okay, cool.